One of my New Year's resolutions will be to make a bit more space in my workshops, storage room, stuff like that. And for this, I decided to just catch up on some of my projects. First one will be this Grundig SCF6100 cassette deck. It has this very nice motorized sliding drawer where you can put in the cassette here. My hope is that this whole thing will be more of a service than an actual repair. It was sold to me as defective, but it's probably just the old belts and broken gears, which are quite common in these devices. Let's just see what it does without anything having been done to it yet. Okay, it is now connected to the mains voltage. Sounds bad. Okay. Yeah, okay, let's open it up. Seems to be a rather typical construction of the time. All of the components standing in all kinds of directions. Not all too pretty, but if it works, it works. Bunch of dust in there. There are some more gears on the underside here, which will require me to get this whole drawer out. Okay, two things I've noticed. First of all, this switch here seems to be related with the function of the cassette tray. So if it's at one position, it tries to retract the tray, but if it's on the other position, it tries to extend it. So I think there is some kind of mechanical interlink between this switch and the tray here missing. Two screws at the bottom, one at the top. Now this panel is gone. However, I still cannot remove it. It's still stuck somewhere. I think the best course of action is to remove this front panel here with two screws here at the top and one at the bottom in the middle. I noticed how the switch would engage with the mechanism. You see this little plastic part here? When the switch is at this position, it still activates. Seems to work fine. But the other direction, there is a bit of a hook here, but this does not engage at all. It just gets pushed away. Yeah, on the side here you can see that there is a piece of plastic missing, which was used to connect to this part here. In there you can see some big pieces of cracked plastic. There were obviously some gears that are now not here anymore. Okay, it seems to me that I will have to undo those little latches here, and here, as well as on the other side. You just need to get your screwdriver in there, and just kind of yank it a little bit out of there, and it just pops right out. Quite elegant, actually. The amount of broken plastic is really insane. Two more screws and a piece of paper, and I was able to lift up this PCB. Now here you can see a moldy piece of plastic, which was once a gear. Here was also another gear, which is not here anymore. This belt here, and another belt for the timer. I think if I just replace all of those components, it should be fine. By the way, those gears, you can get replacements from eBay. Those should be the replacement gears. This one will obviously fit here. This one, I've got a feeling, will fit here. But I'm not too sure about this one. I'll have to take a closer look. Fits great, seems to work fine. I will just need to be careful when putting this little plastic washer back on, because if you lose something like this, you will have a bad time. You will have to make some kind of replacement, and I've had to do it before. It is possible, but you wouldn't want to do it. Just be careful when putting it on. There it is. Gears are installed. I also put a healthy amount of lithium grease on everything. Now the belts. Mechanisms back together again. New belts, new gears. Let's see if it works. Now about the broken plastic part that hits the limit switch. I have not found any kind of replacement online, but I do have this part, the measurements from the mechanism itself, and this very crude drawing from the service manual. And I am hoping that just with those things I will be able to whip up something in 3D modeling software that might just work. Let's see if this works out. The index pin is a bit inconvenient to print, so I just left a 2mm hole where I can just put something else in. While these were printing, I also took the time to lubricate the rest of the mechanism as well as this rail here. As the index pin, I decided to use a short M2 screw. Seems to work fine. Great. In this case, I will put this plastic piece on Thingiverse. Oh, and by the way, it might be a good idea to test the device before reassembling it to this point here. I forgot, so now is the first official test. Okay. Well, okay. Oh yeah, the capstan is spinning. Oh. What's this noise? Damn. I think I found the issue. This piece of plastic needs to be on the other side. It needs to be like this. Not this. Well, let's just try. Let's see if this helps. Yeah, that was it. The noises have stopped. I guess this was just the switch that told the mechanism that the head is engaged. Let's just plug it in. Okay, nothing so far. Okay, this seems to work fine. Let's put in the cassette. Yeah. Whoop. Okay. Winding does work. Just it doesn't stay engaged. Okay, I've been testing it a little bit, and it seems like that as long as the motor starts turning without load, there is no issue and the spindle keeps spinning. But as soon as there is some load on there, the motor does not start. I will replace the motor start capacitors, which are those two things here. One is for this motor, the other one is for this motor. This motor is the one that makes problems for me right now. Oh man, why does everything need to be complicated? That's a bipolar capacitor. I mean, it makes sense that it's bipolar, right? But well, in this case I won't be able to replace it with the stuff I have on hand. Well, I might not have any 10 microfarad bipolar electrolytic capacitors or foil capacitors, but I do have a near infinite supply of old PCBs, and I got these 2.2 microfarad ceramic capacitors. They should be 100 volt, probably X7R. I decided to do 6 2.2 microfarad capacitors. It measures 12.8 microfarad. With DC bias, it will probably go down quite a bit. Let's just say that with 12.8, I think I'll be safe. Bad news, this didn't really do anything to alleviate the issue. Put in a cassette, try to play it. Yeah, still weak motor. I don't know. I'll have to look deeper into it. And the funny thing is, if I just do this and try to stop it by hand, it's like really hard. But you know, once it stops, it's gone. I measured all of the voltages, they are fine. There is a little potentiometer here which regulates the force of the driving motor, but it doesn't really help. Even at the maximum setting, it's still not enough. I did relubricate everything and made sure everything moves freely. Still didn't work. Well, I think this gear is defective. And now I know what the third gear was for. It's a replacement for this one. So I will replace this and, well, I mean, if it doesn't work then I don't know what will. It is better and it's way more silent. That's way better than before. However, it still eats up the tape. Yeah. Well, I mean, now it's working, but barely working. Just left it running a little bit and it got better. The electronics work like they should. Oh yeah, there we go, of course. Oh man, it was working for like 2 minutes. Yeah, I don't know. Okay, what I have done now might have been a mistake. First of all, I destroyed my gear. I mean, that's a bit unfortunate. Now I have access to the contact surfaces of the brushes. I can now file down these surfaces and try to clean up the brush surfaces as well, therefore ensuring a better electrical contact. Maybe this will help. I ground down these contacts, polished them up and gave them a final wipe down with a mild contact cleaner. Same thing with the brushes, although the brushes I did not grind down, but I used Contact 60, which is a very aggressive contact cleaner. It isn't perfect, but should be good enough. Also put a dab of silicone oil into this brass piece up there. Putting this part back on was no easy task. I had to use this vise, just, you know, put it in there, close it and rotate it, close it. Yeah, turns. I mean, you won't be able to see it on camera. Might be able to hear it. This stage was also quite a bit harder than expected. I needed a hammer to get it back together again. Yeah, I really think this did the trick. The rebuild of the motor I think wasn't too necessary. It was more important that the gears mesh perfectly. If they don't mesh perfectly, if they are too tight, it has too much resistance and the motor stops turning. And if it's too loose, for some reason it also stops turning. But if it meshes perfectly, and only with the new gear, not the old one, it works. It is working without any issues. I've been listening to music for right around half an hour now. There are no problems with the motor stopping. By the way, I was able to reuse the gear that I thought I had broken. There was a little bit left, and with right positioning on the shaft I was able to use it without many issues. I also was able to put back this potentiometer for adjusting the force of this spindle here to right around where it was before. I did give it a notch more power, but it doesn't really seem like it requires it now. So that's great. Okay, everything's back together right now. I also took the time to remove some of the dust that was in there. And the only thing that's still open is the feet. But I already 3D printed something that might fit. Moment of truth. Okay, it's a bit too tight. The filament droops down there a bit too much. I forgot to add support to the file. After cutting it with a knife, I got it to fit really good. That's it. Everything's put back together. All 4 feet have been installed. Here it is, installed in my system. I'm quite happy with it. It sounds great. I also like that it can play with the tray open. Now, what I did in this video is essentially just a very simple mechanical service, something everyone can do themselves if they want it. With a device this old, there might also arise some electrical issues. This one luckily hasn't had any issues yet. Still, it would be a good idea to replace all of the electrolytics in there. However, since I'm quite lazy, I won't do that. Also, I won't use it that often, so it's fine. For the end of this video, I'm going to leave you with some classical music being played in this cassette deck, something that shouldn't trigger the copyright system. The music following might not be very appealing to everyone, I'm very sorry for that in advance. If you want to see more videos like this, like and subscribe, and I will see you next time.
Bald